Hi everyone, this is John Gerardi with Right to Life of Central California, bringing you another in our 40 videos for 40 Days series. 40 Days for Life is the international campaign of prayer and presence outside abortion clinics throughout the country and throughout the world. If you want to learn more about our campaign here in Fresno, get in touch with us at 559-229-2229. Today and for the next few days on the show, I want to talk about some FAQs, frequently asked questions I get about the abortion topic. When you're Mr. Right to Life, as I am, people ask you a lot of questions about the topic of abortion, and there are a couple that I get a lot. So I figured it'd be a good idea to make a video about it. One of the first things I wanted to talk about is the topic of men and abortion. And people often will ask me, what rights do men have? What rights do men have within the context of abortion? They're the father of the child. Their wife or their girlfriend decides she wants to have an abortion. What rights do men have in that scenario? And the answer is absolutely nothing. Men have no legal rights in the United States over the abortion decision. Now, this is due to the way that the Supreme Court in Roe and then subsequently in Planned Parenthood versus Casey, the way that they view the relationship between mother and child, the mother and the prenatal child, is one of basically a burden that the unborn child imposes the burdens of pregnancy on the woman and on the woman specifically. It's often noted that the child imposes the burdens of motherhood, the burdens of raising a child on the mother also, and that this is a justification for abortion, but that is also seemingly not a justification to involve the dad in the decision-making process. It's sort of weird how the Supreme Court is not only focused on the burden of pregnancy, the Supreme Court was focused on the burdens of raising a child that you don't want to raise. And that is a reason for a woman to have a say in abortion, but for some reason it's not a reason for a man to have a say in the abortion decision. Now, legally speaking, because of this viewpoint that pregnancy is a question of burdens and the relationship between a mother and child is nothing special, it's just a simple relationship of one person imposing an unasked for burden on another person, the Supreme Court has excluded men from the decision-making process. And the Supreme Court in Roe v. Wade totally excludes men from the decision-making process. The Supreme Court in Planned Parenthood versus Casey, which is really the most important abortion decision of our history. It was kind of the successor case to Roe v. Wade. It upheld Roe v. Wade's central holding of legalized abortion throughout pregnancy, but it gave a different legal rationale. One of the things that happened in Planned Parenthood versus Casey, the Planned Parenthood versus Casey decision was launched because of a state law passed in Pennsylvania by the pro-life Democrat governor of Pennsylvania, the late Bob Casey. It was called the Abortion Control Act, and this law was deliberately passed to be a challenge to Roe. And one of the provisions within the law was a provision giving husbands the right, basically saying that husbands needed to consent before their wife had an abortion. The Supreme Court struck down that provision of the Abortion Control Act, even though they upheld many other provisions of the Abortion Control Act. The Supreme Court in Casey, while it was bad, it did allow certain kinds of abortion restrictions. Parents have the right to, basically states can require that a parent give their consent before a minor child has an abortion. There are all kinds of laws regarding 24-hour waiting periods, health and safety stuff that states can impose, but states cannot impose a requirement that the husband give permission for his wife to have an abortion. So the fact is, it's basically because of these Supreme Court decisions that purport to interpret the Constitution, specifically the 14th Amendment, not only do men not have a choice, not have any say in the abortion decision, but actually the Supreme Court has ruled that the Constitution itself doesn't allow them to have any say in the abortion decision, which really, I think, denies the very obvious reality of what's going on in abortion, that abortion is not simply a relationship between a mother and a child who is simply a burden on her, who is basically a stranger to her. imposing an unintended, unasked for burden, that these relationships of mother and father and child are something meaningful and real and valuable, and that our law should respect the genuine nature of those relationships by giving unborn children protection under law. It's really sort of a sad thing to see, as I have seen, different men who had girlfriends or wives or whatever make the choice to have an abortion, and for them to feel so powerless, so helpless, unable to do anything. And unfortunately, under current American law, men are really shoved out completely from the abortion decision. For Right to Life of Central California, I'm John Gerardi.